Hi, everyone. Welcome to Leisrealtalk. All right, let's take a break from talking about CCP politics. Let's talk about something that matters to every one of us. Tomorrow is July the 4th, a significant day. Yes, it marks the 249th birthday of the United States, but that's not all. It's the date that terrifies the Pacific. By tomorrow afternoon in North America, Asian countries across the Pacific will already have entered July 5th, which is a date that's causing panic throughout the Pacific region. In earthquake-prone places like Japan and Taiwan, some people have spent sleepless nights. Just mentioning July 5th fills them with dread. Across Japan, Taiwanese, Japanese, and Chinese social media, there has been an explosion of discussion about the possibility of a major, a catastrophic earthquake and tsunami striking on the 5th. The alarm comes largely from the predictions of a Japanese manga artist. Her name is Ryo Tatsuki. Let me here's her book. She's known for illustrating a vision of a colossal tsunami in her book titled The Future I Saw. Her vision described seismic waves so massive that they would trigger land upheavals, merging Taiwan, Hong Kong, and the Philippines and Japan, I think, all into a single land mass. Here we go. Now, Ryo Tatsuki became famous after having previously predicted the March 2011 Tohoku earthquake in Japan that killed nearly 20,000 people. And there has been so much anxieties in Japan that Ms. Tatsuki recently published a book explaining what she saw. She's standing by her prediction of a massive tsunami. She's not moving away from that. The Japanese government is trying to downplay the public anxiety because it has already affected tourism in Japan. I heard today that it has affected maybe not all of Japan, but in the southern Japanese area, southern Japan, up to 80% of local tourism has been affected as a result of this belief. And for many people in the West, this may sound like superstition or far-fetched speculation, but guess what? Mainstream media outlets, BBC, ABC, Reuters, Le Monde in France, The Guardian, and Daily Mail in the UK all reported on Ms. Tatsuki's doomsday prophecy. Many of them reported today. I checked. This isn't just a cultural imagination or Asian paranoia. The growing concern isn't based on superstition alone. Across the Pacific, multiple hotspots are showing signs of abnormal tectonic or seismic behavior. Japan, China, and the US West Coast are all affected. So there are real seismic developments unfolding in the Pacific ring of fire right now, making these concerns harder to ignore. So today, let's talk about the significance of this July 4th, or maybe the 5th. Let's talk about this doomsday concern looming over our heads. Maybe people here in the West have not felt it that much, but certainly in Asia, if the Japanese media, the Taiwanese media are all over it. So we'll first talk about the latest seismic activities that worry scientists. And then we'll talk about Ms. Tatsuki's new book and go over what exactly she revealed about her prediction. And most importantly, advices she gave to people to survive the disaster. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about ongoing seismic activity in Japan, which does not look good. So since June 21st, a wave of earthquake has rattled the Tokara Islands in southern Japan. Here we go. There are 12 tiny islands. And then in just 2 weeks, over 1,000 quakes have been recorded. It's 3 times the usual activity for this time of year. The largest so far struck on June 22nd, registering a magnitude of 5.1, followed by a 5.5 quake on July 2nd. Cracks have even appeared in school playgrounds. And this morning, the Japanese government evacuated about 900 residents on the islands. Now, the Tokara Islands are located within one of the most seismically active regions on Earth, the Pacific Ring of Fire. And I'll give you a picture of this ring of fire. And according to the people in Japan, there's an old belief, there's an old Japanese belief that is called the Tokara Rule. It basically says that when these 12 small islands experience frequent tremors, it may be a precursor to a much bigger earthquake somewhere else in Japan. That is a traditional or an old Japanese belief. And this has left people sleepless at night. Now, the Pacific Ring of Fire refers to this horseshoe-shaped belt of tectonic plate boundaries encircling the Pacific Ocean. It stretches from Japan and Southeast Asia through New Zealand, across the Pacific to the west coast of North and South America. About 90% of the world's earthquakes and most of its volcanic eruptions occur along this ring. And under the Pacific Ocean is the Pacific Plate. California and Japan aren't geologically disconnected just because there's an ocean between them. They're more like two ends of a seesaw. Whatever happens in Japan can affect the US West Coast. And so experts say this level of persistent clustered activity in the Tokara region is highly abnormal and could signal that stress is building beneath the surface. And earlier in the year, Japan's Earthquake Research Committee issued a chilling statement, and they say that there's a 82% chance of a major quake hitting the Nankai Trough in the next 30 years. If it happens, an estimated 300,000 people would die. And the longer this quake, the longer we wait for the quake, the more severe it will be, because it will build up. It will build up to be a bigger one. So where is the Nankai Trough? It's, where did it go? Where did it go? It's exactly, it's right where the manga artist saw the ocean floor split in her dream. So that's where that is. Okay, so now this isn't just about earthquakes. Volcanic unrest is also intensifying. So in June 2025, this last month, Mount Shinmo, a dormant volcano in Japan's Kyushu region, erupted after 7 years of silence. I have a picture of that. Where did it go? Here we go. Yep. And the eruption happened at the same time as the Tokara Island earthquakes were going. So this reinforced the fear of widespread tectonic disturbances. And across the Pacific, on the US side, along the Pacific Ring of Fire, an underwater volcano off the coast of Oregon called Axial Seamount is showing signs of imminent eruption. scientists have recorded over 1,000 microquakes per day, along with rising magma levels. So although it's deep underwater and not directly threatening to people on land, it's a clear sign of tectonic stress building in the Northern Pacific. And now let's talk about what's happening in China. There's a message going viral warning people about upcoming earthquake in southern China. This post, allegedly from one of China's top seismologists, his name is Ni Si Dao. Ni Si Dao. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. So he wrote a post. Apparently, it's addressed to a minister. He called it Minister Liu, and so he said his team is predicting a magnitude 8.0 or higher earthquake that would strike southern China in the next 8 months. And this Mr. Ni is a global expert in deep earthquake physics. He studied in the US. And this is what he wrote. He wrote, Mr. Liu or Minister Liu, I must report to you, massive flooding has occurred in Guizhou and Guangdong. There are also extremely abnormal high temperatures in the Northeast. More critically, he offered 3 pieces of evidence to show that there's a high chance of a major quake in the next 8 months. So he said in South China, longitudinal wave velocities, which is a key seismic measurement, is 6 times the normal average, and it's the highest in 62 years. He also mentioned at 27 groundwater monitor stations in Guangdong, water levels dropped to 1/3 of their usual height. And then he said the average aquifer level sank by 11.7 meters, suggesting massive underground energy absorption, a possible indicator of fault tension building up deep underneath the surface. So all of this, with seismic swarms, volcanic eruptions, underground energy shifts, and warnings from scientists, many are taking July 5th seriously, not because a manga artist predicted it, but because reality is starting to resemble fiction. Whether or not a big one strikes on that day, the signs all point to one truth. That is, the ring of fire in the Pacific is waking up. And the best thing people can do is to stay informed and be prepared. Now, just as people in the Pacific Rim are preoccupied with earthquakes and tsunami in anticipation of July 5th, an ominous sign occurred in Europe. Beachgoers in Portugal witnessed a jarring sight last Sunday. Here we go. I'm going to show you a series of pictures. A rare tsunami-shaped cloud formation came rolling across the northern and central coast of Portugal. Here it is. So here's some. These are all clouds. They're called roll clouds. Yeah, these are all from Portugal. This one is from Japan, and it's also spotted in Japan. So the phenomenon is being called a roll cloud. And it was seen billowing over the ocean, but it looked strikingly similar to tsunami waves. So all of the above scientific evidence makes us nervous. We want to know, what exactly Ms. Tatsuki saw in her dreams, and if there's any details she could share. Well, to answer our burning questions, she recently published a new book called The Last Words of an Angel. Where's her book? There it is. And this book has become such a sensation in Asia. Unfortunately, has not been translated into English or Chinese. It's in Japanese, and those people who are bilingual in Japanese and Chinese have been sharing with us what she said. It's fascinating. I will have to do a program on what she said in the book in Lay's Looking Glass. But today I'll just share with you the part about how she saw, exactly how she saw, how she obtained the prophecy or the prediction of the July 5th tsunami, because that's relevant, right? And she's been very forthcoming with exactly how she obtained the information. And there are a lot of other information she shared in the book, which I'll discuss in a separate video. So let me first give you the conclusion, which has good news and bad news, okay? The good news is that July 5th isn't the day that she said this disaster would take place. It was actually the date that she had the dream that from where she saw this disaster. So July 5th isn't necessarily the day that the tsunami or the disaster will strike. The bad news is that something is destined to happen, and possibly in July, and she's standing by her prediction. And then she offered some valuable suggestions at the end, which I will share. So let's first talk about who is Ryo Tatsuki, because we have to know who she is before we can decide if we should trust her or not. Because there are a lot of people offering all kinds of doomsday predictions, and not everyone is credible. So we want to understand who she is, how she obtained the information, so that we, the public, can decide if we should trust her or not. So this is a woman who lives without the internet or a smartphone. Let me make this bigger. Maybe this, yeah. And the world has not seen a picture of her other than this blurry, low-res photo from many years ago when she was younger. She's 70 years old now. That's all we have. And when she is interviewed, she always requests her voice to be altered and her face covered up. And she said in her book that she chose to be a manga artist because it was the perfect job for someone like her. She could stay at home, create, and leave a record of her existence without ever showing her face to the world. And her journey into manga and the spiritual encounters all began with one pivotal moment in her childhood. And so she talked about her childhood experience in her family, which I will share later, but it's very interesting. It's fascinating. So she was the youngest of 5 children. By all accounts, she was a normal kid. That is, until the age of 9. That year, her family moved again. Her family moved a lot. The constant relocations made it hard for her to settle into her new schools. One day, she came down with a terrible fever. And as she laid in her bed, her body feeling weak, but her mind was going wild, with unusual thoughts gripping her. So she was asking herself, why was I born on this planet? Why this body? Who am I? Why this life? Now, these deep philosophical questions, even we adults, not every one of us have the answers to these questions, right? So these deep questions consumed the 9-year-old girl. Then she remembered something that she had once read. She said, maybe let me come back. And she said, she remembered reading this. If you mentally detach from your own body, rise above yourself and observe from the outside, you could free yourself from your worries and anxieties. So she decided to give it a try. And so she imagined herself floating into the sky, looking down at her house. And then she saw it, her little home, her bedroom, and her feverish body lying on the bed. And in that moment, something lifted. Her anxiety and despair disappeared. Then she felt someone was watching her from behind. She turned around and saw an old man with white hair and white beard, wearing a flowing white robe. Now, Rio had never seen him before, not in this life, but something about this white-haired man, old man, felt achingly familiar. The girl felt a sense of warmth, security, and love, and she burst into tears, and she wanted to go with him to return home. She didn't know who he was, but in her heart, she believed if there really was a supreme being in the universe, if there truly was a creator, he would look exactly like that old man in white. And as she grew older, she understood that she is an angel sent by the creator. That's what she said. Now, after that extraordinary encounter with the man in white, she has a supernormal ability. She developed a supernormal ability. She could feel the emotions of others just by being in the same room with them. Joy, pain, sadness, anger, it all came rushing into her like waves. Sometimes, even when a person wasn't consciously aware of their own feelings, she could feel the subtle shift in their heart. If someone was happy, she'd feel a giddiness. If someone was anxious, it feels like she was sinking into the bottom or to the bottom of the sea. Anger or hatred, they hit her like thunder. But the worst, she said, was desire, especially the obsessive desire for material things. She said it felt thick, murky, like being swallowed by a bottomless swamp. And she said people's desires even smell bad. And yet the best thing that she described was romantic love. True, selfless romantic love was among the most beautiful energies she could feel. She said when couples were genuinely in love, the atmosphere around them turned bright, gentle, even fragrant, like warm sunlight on a winter morning. So that's the special ability she has. And then in 1998, when she embarked on a spiritual journey to India with a group of people, and there she unlocked another ability, the ability to communicate with the divine. So on her trip, there was one woman who was deeply curious about mystical things. And so this woman kept asking Ryo or Miss Tatsuki questions. And oddly, the moment each question was asked, vivid images began flashing in Ryo's mind. They were answers. So she was puzzled, but she could only describe what she was seeing, or in some cases, show. She felt like a telephone line. This is what she said. She said she felt like a telephone line between two worlds. Someone would dial in with a question, and the answer would arrive from the other side. She herself was just the wire, the messenger. But not everyone could connect. Some people's questions never triggered anything, but for others, the connection would click instantly. She came to understand what the divine line only picked up under 3 conditions. 1, the person's karmic weight was already lifted, or 2, it's nearly lifted. And the third is the answer was crucial. But karmic weight, let me just explain. Karma is this black substance that you obtain from doing bad things. So so I think she's describing the three conditions are, or three types of people. It's either when someone who doesn't have a lot of karma or black substance asks a question, or someone who has very little karma, or when someone asked a very important or crucial question. That's what she meant by karmic weight. And then she described how she saw the future. Okay, so this pertains to this part of, I just want to tell you how she obtained the ability. And now she talked about what she saw. It wasn't her. It was, that knowledge was given to her. So she said in 1999, she compiled the short manga stories published from 1994 to 1998 into a single volume. And she titled the collection, The Future I Saw. At the very last moment, while finishing the cover art, okay, this is the cover art. Yeah. Let me make this bigger. She drew the hand of an angel holding 6 blank pages. 5 had already been filled with messages. 1 page was deliberately left empty by her. But on the final morning before the book's deadline, she had a dream. In the dream, a voice, loud and urgent, echoed throughout, and the voice said, "Draw it." Then in a flash, a date appeared before her eyes, March 2011. Okay, now, so this is the dream she had in 1999. And in the dream, she heard a voice saying, "Draw it." And then she was given a message, a date, that is March 2011. So when she awoke, the image was still burned into her head or mind, and she didn't fully understand what it meant, but she knew it mattered. If she didn't write it down, she might regret it for the rest of her life. That's what she knew. And so on that blank page that she left out, she wrote, "A great disaster will occur in March 2011. Okay. And the rest is history, right? A massive earthquake hit Japan on March 11, 2011, killing nearly 20,000 people. But nobody remembered Ryo Tatsuki's manga book until 9 years later. In 2020, on a Japanese TV program, a guest casually mentioned a manga that had once predicted the 2011 Great Earthquake. In an instant, Ryo's little book exploded in popularity. It became an instant sensation. Old copies of this book were suddenly selling for like $500,000 yen, which is about $5,000 US. Imposters began to appear, pretending to be her, because nobody has seen her. She is, this mysterious woman spreading. So these imposters started to spread fake predictions, stoking fear. And so to stop the panic and to protect the truth, she had no choice but to step forward. So in 2021, she published an updated complete version, and it's called The Future I Saw, the complete edition. But just as she was preparing to send off the final manuscript, it happened again. The same thing happened again, in another dream with another message. This time, she saw it as if it were a movie title glowing in the dark, and it said this. Do I have an image? Oh, I don't know. I don't know what happened. I had a page. So basically, it says, it was text in front of her eyes. It says, the next great disaster will occur in July 2025. Okay, so she felt the same force she had felt in 1999. an overwhelming pressure to write it down before it was too late. Did she understand what it meant? No. But all she knew was she had to include it in this new edition. Until then, but she revealed one thing, that revelation answered a question she had. Until then, many had assumed the massive tsunami depicted in her manga still referred to the 2011 earthquake, because in her dream, she had been wearing a short-sleeved summer shirt, hardly something you'd wear in chilly March, right? But that detail haunted her. Only later did she realize that the tsunami she saw was not 2011. It was still to come. And it was July 2025. So how did the prediction of the exact day, July 5th, came about? There might be a misinterpretation. Okay, so in the book she wrote, this is what she wrote. She said, if the day of the dream is also the day the disaster unfolds, then the next great catastrophe will be July 5th, 2025. And that line made the date go viral. People circled it on calendars, and the world began to count down until July 5th, 2025. But Ryo clarified in her latest book, the date of the dream does not mean the disaster will happen that exact date, right? Because, yeah, she said, it's the day humanity finally wakes up to the coming danger. So that's, the dream took place on July 5th, 2021, but it's not the date of the disaster. So in her latest book, she reconfirmed it clearly, and she said the great disaster of July 2025 will happen, and it won't affect Japan. The entire world will feel its impact. And she went into details about what she saw in the dream, and I'm not going to go into that because it's lengthy and it's not for this discussion. But she said she didn't write the book to instill fear. Her intention was to awaken people. Disasters, she wrote, strike precisely when people let their guard down. And that is why she chose to speak, so that people can prepare. And her most urgent piece of advice is water. In the wake of catastrophe, electricity and gas will return after some time, but clean drinking water will be in short supply for much longer. And she pleads with her readers to stock enough water to survive. Food, too, she said, will become precious. And she said, in those days, a single cup of water, a piece of bread will be treasures. And she also said, keep paper money on hand. I have said this too. I have said that one day we will all need paper money. All these electronic devices will become obsolete. And she said it may be the only way to buy essentials when systems collapse. And beyond all this, she said the true test will be of the human spirit. We will all be tested. And she foresees moments of both darkness and light. People risking their lives to help others, and others taking advantage of the chaos for personal gain. Politicians will show their true colors too, she said. And when the dust settles, she believes voters will choose leaders who stood with the people. In other words, the disaster will it will also reshape, it won't just reshape landscape or land masses, it will also reshape society. It may even alter political orders. So she believes everything, her dreams, her visions, her entire life has been building toward this one message, which is that July 2025 is not the end. It is the test, she said. It's the test to all of us. Now, interestingly, another modern day Japanese prophet who is a Buddhist monk, his name is Miki Daiyun. I have a picture of him. Where did he go? There he is. He also has fascinating story. Monk Daiyun accurately predicted former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's assassination. And some people said that he also predicted the Russia-Ukraine war. Now, he found similar warnings in Buddhist texts. And so he invited Miss Tatsuki for a dialogue. The two of them met in June and had a talk. And they agreed with each other. So according to Monk Daiyun, he said that Japan witnessed a rare red aurora, which is historically seen as a disaster omen. And this monk cited the 800-year cycle and past auroras preceding major earthquakes. So both of them urged preparedness over superstition and panic. And Monk Daiyun also advised people storing water and knowing their evacuation routes. He even vowed that he said he vowed to resign from his post at the monastery if no disaster occurs in 2025. That's what he said. He said if it doesn't happen, he would resign from his post. And he said prevention is the real purpose of such warnings. All right, and then I want to share with you my dream. Lei is not a prophet, but Lei have dreams too. Interesting. Well, this is tomorrow's holiday. We may as well just talk about everything. I saw this picture today, and it struck me because I saw something very similar in my dream about 2 weeks ago. The only difference is the buildings. I mean, this is Japanese buildings, a small village in Japan. I don't know if this picture was created by AI. I have no idea, but it was online. It was actually used by one of the media outlets. I tend to believe this was created by AI. But anyways, in my dream, this is exactly what I saw, but the buildings are high-rise buildings in major US cities. I don't remember. I think it could be New York or Boston or Chicago. I mean, not Chicago. I mean, it has to be a city on the coast. Yeah, so New York or Boston, or it could be LA or San Francisco. But it looked exactly like this. And I was, there was 1 minute I was standing on the street talking to people. The next thing is these waves came over and they were rolling from afar and they came closer to me. In the beginning, I saw they were digital projection. I thought they weren't real. I was just staring at them. And when they came very fast and they were real tsunami. I mean, luckily I was okay. I wasn't, somehow the water didn't affect me at all. And in my dream, I called a friend, a dear friend of mine, and was telling him that the tsunami is coming. And my friend in the dream was only happy that I called, but did not believe me entirely. And so I was so worried in my dream that he didn't believe me. And then I woke up. So that dream had a lasting impact on me because those waves looked very real. And the fact that my friend didn't even pay attention to what I said really, make me worry even more. I sent an email to him afterwards, and there's no response. So hopefully he's okay. But anyways, so yeah, so this is exactly what I saw. I had the dream about 2 weeks ago. So that's all I have. This is not a channel that talk about superstitions. Uh, but if you check news coverage today about July 4th and July 5th, it's all everywhere. So I felt compelled to talk about it. I hope this is helpful to you because this is what a lot of people in Asia are talking about, thinking about. Okay. All right. Let me see. Okay, so that's what I wore this t-shirt for the occasion. Stronger than ever. Okay. I'm still optimistic about the world. I'm a very optimistic person. I'm not a I'm not a pessimistic person at all. But I think some people probably will not do so well in such disasters. So we have to be careful and take precaution. All right, let me see. Okay. Let's hope it doesn't happen. All right. We'll find out on Saturday. No, I don't think it will happen on the 5th. But July will be a difficult month. It feels like it already. All right. All right. Oh, here's Michael Ellen, injury attorney. Love you, Lay. All right. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for this super sticker. All right. Oh, by the way, I want to tell you, a new video is released in my other channel, Lay's Looking Glass. It's a fascinating story. It's about, remember I told you that how Chinese parents do not like their daughters to be very beautiful, to be exceedingly beautiful. And that video explains why. I almost did yeah, beauty's curse. It's almost you can almost call it the woman who hates her good looks. But it tells you the story why traditionally Chinese parents believe that as long as their daughters look okay, then that's the best. You know, mediocrity is has its significance. Mediocrity has its virtue in the traditional Chinese culture. If you are too beautiful, if you're exceedingly beautiful, then it may invite a lot of unwanted attention. But it's a story that it's such a fascinating story. I mean, it has geopolitics, it has CCP history, CCP power struggles, it has Chinese history in it, it has a fortune telling, and then it's also about the life of this beautiful woman. So I think you will like it. It's the longest video Lei has ever made. It's 20 minutes, over 20 minutes. So check it out. Chris, if you can post the link, I'd appreciate that. Oh, and also my interview with Danny Jones, I heard is coming out on July the 7th. That's next Monday, 7/7. It's such a auspicious day for Lei's video, right? 7 is a very auspicious number. And yeah, it's coming out. So, all right. Lei isn't very serious today, isn't she? Is she? Okay. All right, let's see. Okay, here's a super sticker from Carnival Barker. Lei, I'm in tears. Trump's sold Taiwan to Xi. What happened? I don't know what happened. Tell me what happened. I haven't followed politics today. I have been just deep into this July 5th. I'm deep into seismic activities today. So what happened today? I don't think so. I don't think he has sold Taiwan. That's not like him. All right. I want to thank everyone for the super stickers. Is there any other? Oh, here's one. Michael again. I feel the same way for Lay's warm feeling of love. Okay, all right. Thank you. All right. All right. That's all. That's all. Is that the bottom? Oh, there are more. Okay. Oh, here's one. Ashley Alley. Thank you. Thank you for your hard work. Your channel is very precious. Well, thank you, Ashley. I appreciate that. And thank you for the words of encouragement. We're taking a little, we're taking on a different subject today, just for a change, because tomorrow is a holiday, and I can't talk about CCP politics every week. It's a little tiring. I need a break. All right, let's see. I think that's all the super stickers. All right. That's all. Okay, let me see if people have questions for me. No questions. All right, no questions. That's good. Beauty leads to pride and jealousy. That's a good comment. Yeah. Um, Someone asked me, like, can you swim? I'm not a very good swimmer. I'm not a very good swimmer. If there's a flood, I need one of you to come and rescue me. I can swim probably 20 feet. Yeah, 15 feet. That's all. So it's problematic. Somebody say, look, Lei looks like my mom. All right, wow. I'm glad that I look like your mom, but am I that old? Okay. Moonwalker. How will the CCP take advantage of this disaster if it does happen? If the disaster turns out to be the scale that's being described, I don't think CCP will exist anymore. Or if it exists, it's non-relevant because this is the government that has no ability to do any disaster recovery for its people. I think all these officials will just disappear. They're trying to hide, to they're going to run away to save their own lives, and they're not going to. No one is working to take care of the people. So I think the regime will be effectively terminated when that happens. That's my belief. Okay. Here's a question from D Glass. Why are we only finding out about this prediction now? It's too late to do anything now with less than a day of preparation for doomsday. But in the Chinese world, in the Chinese speaking world, and in the Japanese world, they all know this. In Asia, because this is, in the Pacific, supposedly it's from a Japanese manga artist. So in Asia, it's really everyone, I mean, not everyone, but most people know this. And I don't think it's going to happen on the 5th, but maybe in July. Okay, all right. Should we end it early tonight? Because someone said, Lei looks like my partner's cousin. I think I have this universal face that I look like a lot of people. What does your t-shirt say? It says, stronger than ever. I picked this t-shirt for this talk. I picked this t-shirt to prepare for doomsday. All right. Okay, someone said, okay, Chris forwarded a question from J. Canny 24. Lei, you are a very sensitive person. Your dream must come from what you've read about the coming earthquake in Japan. I don't think I was reading anything about this thing before I had the dream. I mean, the dream came from nowhere. So I almost forgot about the dream until I saw that picture today. When I saw that picture, I'm like, this is exactly what I saw in my dream, except the buildings are the high rises. And then I remember my dream. Okay. All right, we should end it here. Here's another question forwarded from Netflix Forum. Someone here asked about what the talk was about. Very handsome Chinese sons. What handsome Chinese sons? I have no idea. You mean the sun, the Chinese sun in the video that I released in Leisrealtalk? Is that the boy who died with his parents? Yeah. Oh, here's Linda Uzi. Well, thank you, Linda. Daniel, I saw something. It's not important. Thank you for your deep dives into what would otherwise be an opaque culture. What do you think of the feng shui decorating? What do I think of feng shui decorating? Well, I made a whole series of videos on feng shui. I talked about the White House's feng shui. I even gave feng shui tips. Check out my program in Lace Looking Glass. Chris has provided the links in the description of every video. You can check it out. All right, and then someone talked about the destruction of Three Gorges Dam. If such an earthquake happens, yeah, there's the Three Gorges Dam is at the great risk of collapsing, which is going to be a nightmare. It's going to wipe out so many lives along the Yangtze River, all the way to Shanghai. Drusilla, I missed your chat, but I'm catching up. We'll catch from the start. Well, thank you, Drusilla. Oh, here's Drusilla. Here's Christian Lopez. Well, thank you, Christian. All right. Let's end it here. It's holiday. Oh, here's a question. All right. I will see you, hopefully. Hopefully the world will stay as one piece. And I'll see you on Saturday. Okay, stay well and happy July 4th. I'll see you in a few days. Bye.